Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Campbell's Custom Care Studio.
You're riding along with Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now, headlights, they've been around since cars have been invented. They started out as lanterns. In 1898, they went electric. And in 1924, you had high beams. And since then, you've only really had a choice here, Cody. You've had your low beams and your high beams. And you could use one or the other, and then add fog lights in another 30 or 40 years ago. And now you only have a choice of one or the other. But you've solved that problem. How so?
So what we did, we created the Brite box in 1996 to allow you to basically keep the low beams on with high beams. And what that allows you to do is basically keep all your lights on and give you a wider field of coverage and maximize your lighting output. So you can basically see much more in your field of view at night. So you can avoid obstacles, ditches, all kinds of things. It's really helpful when there's no street lights or any lighting on the road. So rural areas, dark roads, off-road.
So thanks to Aspire Auto Accessories, you can see your high beams are throwing way down the road, and then your low beams are seeing what's in front of you. So maybe obstructions, animals on the road.
Exactly, exactly, of course. Well, it's a lot of times I've gotten people who mention being on the road and they'll see deer, cows, that could be costly damage to your vehicle. You hit a deer, it's going to ruin your front end. What the Brite box allows you to do is basically be able to see those oncoming things ahead of time so you can prevent any unwanted damage or anything. It could be a big safety issue, not having all your lights on.
And I can see a lot of folks, maybe they're off-roading and they want all the light they can get when they're out in the woods, so this is very cool for that. You had the original Brite box, and then it evolved. What'd you do next?
So what we did next is fog lights were introduced, and we were able to make a Brite box that allows you to keep the high beams, low beams, and fog lights all on at the same time. So this really helps when you're off-roading because you hit your high beams, you're going to have your low beams and fog lights, which basically illuminate the entire front of your vehicle, and then you have high beams, which gives you even more distance with your field of coverage and light, and then you're able to just see the whole trail ahead of you.
And then at Aspire, you came up with the Fogster.
Yes.
And tell me how that works.
So basically, the Fogster will keep your fog lights on when you hit high beams. Some vehicles already keep the low beams on with high beams. The Fogster is going to keep the fog lights on with high beams, so then you have your highs, lows, and fog lights all on at the same time.
And then, in a snowy situation, we've all seen it, driving up north, turn your headlights on, you can't see very well. You think your high beams might be the solution, and all you're seeing, it looks like you're in the Millennium Falcon with stars flying by. It's reflecting off of that. How'd you solve that problem?
So we created the Brite box Anytime that allows you to turn on your fog lights at any time with the press of a switch. And what that allows you to do is you could press that switch, run your parking lights, and cut directly through that snow if you're running, your amber fogs, and you don't get that reflection
that you have from the white lights,
bouncing back right at you and blinding you.
Very cool. A lot of folks up north I know can use that. A lot of my friends. What's installation like when it comes to the Brite box?
Installation for the Brite box is really easy. It's about 15 to 30-minute install, depending on if you have to remove a headlight. But other than that, you just have a simple screwdriver and a wrench, and you can install it really quick.
How much do I have to modify my vehicle to put the Brite box in?
You don't have to modify it at all. There's no modifications required to run the Brite box.
Just plug it into the lights, plug it into the battery, and then I've got a switch on my dash. And speaking of switches here, you've got a great looking switch right there that kind of hides under the dash. That's one you designed, and that looks very cool. Do I have options besides that?
Yes, so we have two different options of switches. You'll have the universal switch that you just mentioned, and then we also have the OEM style switch, which gives it a nice clean factory OEM look for Toyota vehicles.
In mentioning Toyota, is the Brite box vehicle specific?
We do have specific applications, so it's going to be directly fit for your vehicle. And then we do have people who request applications, and what we do is I'll go ahead and collect the data that's required and figure out what we need to make an application for the customer.
Really simple to install. If you have any issues, you can check out the YouTube videos that these guys have put up. You can also give them a call. There's a whole slew of accessories you can find at AspireAutoAccessories.com along with the Brite box. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Don't go away. Oh, and by the way, don't forget Motorhead of the Week coming up.